Hello, everyone, and welcome to Variant Roles. I am your GM and host, Dan Gaston, at MadSciDM on Twitter. I use he, him pronouns, and I am excited to be here tonight with As the Suns Burn and some special guests who I am going to let introduce themselves in just a moment. And, I am going to fix that.
Mystery guest.
Mystery guest.
Hey, hi, Dice Priori. Hello.
There we go, and I'm gonna get that all adjusted here as we go. So while I do that, I'm gonna fire it over to Corey. Corey, introduce yourself. Remind us who we're playing tonight.
Awesome. My name is Corey Hickson. My pronouns are he, they, and tonight I'm going to be jumping back into the role of Alice. Alice is first and foremost a criminal, but secondly, Alice is an ardent maker who turns tales into reality. Yeah, that's me.
Excellent. All right, let's continue around with our other regular and go to Alex number 1.
Hi, friends. I'm Alex. I also use he, they pronouns. I'm playing Emma Elizabeth. Uses she, her pronouns, and she is a stoic goetic who cages adversaries. And I'm happy to be back.
And a sometimes murderer, so also a criminal.
Occasionally, yes.
Occasionally a criminal, but working your way back into the good graces of Saturnine society. Excellent. All right, and continuing right around, we have with us again Alex number 2, Alex Catu.
Hello, I am Alex. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm playing Vera, who goes by they, them pronouns. Vera is, look, she just wants to make friends. She's an ardent maker who listens to the whispers. And she's here for friendship.
Excellent. And
never backfires.
Yet French, you can't go wrong. I mean, you can, but, what are you going to do? All right, and last but certainly not least, we have a very special guest joining us. And Jordan, why don't you introduce yourself?
I am Jordan Shively. I will be playing Noah Besden, who is stumbling across the boundaries of different actualities today. He is a stoic, or he wants you to believe he is a stoic apostate who devours knowledge, and lately he's begun feeling very hungry.
He is hungry, and I am hoping that we are here to fill that tummy. And yes, some of you may know Noah from other streams, and we will see how things cross over with As the Suns Burn today. So I think we need a quick update from Alice and Emma Elizabeth, just to remind everyone on some of the actions that have happened to them and their current living situation and what they've been up to since our last stream.
Yeah. So at the end of the last episode, Alice realized that some of the criminal undertakings have brought a little bit too much attention, and that would not pan out if Alice stayed. So Alice asked Emma if it would be okay if she could move her disco ball house to Emma's wonderfully large and enormous house.
Excellent. Yeah, so Emma Elizabeth, how's that going so far?
I think it's going pretty well. I haven't had any reports over the past week of a side scene going awry and hearing that there's been an explosion in my house, which with Alice is always a possibility. So, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, as far as Emma's concerned, I think it's going pretty well so far.
Okay, excellent. Now, I think Alice actually was working on something in her disco ball.
Yep. It actually did come within one roll of having a mishap, which would have been problematic. But Alice has worked on some stuff. She's got some new secrets that she's built into her sword. And she's also got some nice hand earrings that dangle off of her ears now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And we just have to pick a major effect for those, is that right?
Yes. The crafting the secrets into the sword went a little bit off plan. So we've got a major effect on that.
All right. Okay, I like this. It's it's
It's always a
flavorful.
good DM laugh.
I know. I just scanned this random table of things. And there was two that struck me, but you know, because Jordan is here, this is a perfect one. This is the major effect. Alice, with each use,
I'm
the
sorry.
user's teeth immediately and painlessly fall out. A new perfect set grows in the next 10 hours.
That's
Like
so
all the
disgusting.
teeth fall out and then just grow back.
Over 10 hours.
But you get to keep those teeth, don't you?
You get to keep those teeth. Alice, you
get
have a never-ending supply of
farming
teeth.
That's amazing. That's like a maker's dream.
I was really concerned for a second there that you were just gonna stop at all your teeth fall out. Like I thought I thought that was where the period was going. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't think we want to go there with like permanently toothless Alice.
no.
and they
we
grow back,
cannot.
but you have to roll on a table for where they grow back.
Well,
But
if
like an endless supply of teeth is the best thing a maker could ever hope for.
you can make shirts out of teeth, like so much jewelry, Alice.
Alice Tooth Hands Kingsley.
Friends out of teeth.
Perfect. All right, so let us play our first Sooth card for the night to get us going. And all right, I'm going to be the only one visible for a moment. I didn't have time to make a real fancy overlay for the Sooth cards.
Ooh. That's pretty fancy though.
It's pretty fancy. And we have played the Whispering Lover. So Magic of the Gray is enhanced, of Indigo is hindered. This is a card of visions, swans, blades, and water. So if any of those apply to your heart, then they will add to your venture. Meanings: love, romance, partnership, loved ones, and relationships. The Whispering Lover always suggests a bond in place or one that will form very soon, but it can be a positive or negative. And so this is, like partnerships doesn't have to be romantic. It can be friends or business acquaintances. And I think this is very flavorful, knowing as I know some things that are probably going to happen very shortly. And all right. There we go. Sorry about that. We've got some temporary screens and overlays that we're dealing with for tonight's game because Sam, who made all of our fancy overlays, is in Ireland, so she couldn't update them. So, all right. So there we go. So we are going to start.
Sam.
Yeah, I'm just throwing Sam under the bus. An Irish
I
bus.
miss Lucky.
We do. Everybody misses Lucky. All right. So we're going to start with Vera in our first scene. So Vera, what is your house like? I'm assuming you're in your house at the moment.
You know what? I'm probably making a fairly swift exit from my house at this point. My house being a series of tunnels built underneath the city. Each space, like I use a room to make something or to store stuff, and then I kind of just discard it and go on to the next room. I don't really have a permanent home. I kind of just shift from room to room as needed and it turns out there's always another room. Even if there wasn't one yesterday, there is one today. So I've always got enough space to make what I need. So I'm slowly sprawling out beneath the city, but right now I'm making a fairly quick exit because something I was trying to make didn't go super according to plan.
So I think we actually sort of want to pick up in the middle or near the end of that event. So what was Vera working on?
Vera, she's had a chat to some of her other friends who are, she recently made some new friends with Emma Elizabeth and Alice and Lucky and others um, in the world. But she has some other friends, and these other friends have suggested to her that it might be a really awesome kind of thing to figure out how small a piece of a body you can actually resurrect. Like, we know we can resurrect a body and make a ghost and make a zombie and all of that, but like what's the minimum amount of biological matter required? And it kind of turns out the answer to that is a little unclear. Can you resurrect somebody from a fingernail? Yes and no. You can definitely pull the soul back out of it, but then it kind of has nowhere to go and nothing to do except rage around and make people kind of crazy. So Vera's kind of hit a point where she's been collecting some very small pieces of people and things, and has just realized that all of these souls are they have no home anymore. She's successfully resurrected them and pulled them up and out, but now they're all kind of just running around.
Yeah, so there's a plethora of souls. Is that a good a group noun for souls? A plethora.
Several.
Yeah, that are swirling around in your workshop, and they're a little upset.
They're not super pleased with me.
Yeah. Okay. Good. We like angry souls here.
Yeah.
And because I forgot to mention at the top of the screen, because sometimes I am a bad host, any donations, cheers, bits, subscriptions, there's a direct donation link that's below in one of the panels, and you see a counter up there for the channel. Any of those over the course of this month through Pride Month will be going to Trans Lifeline. So thank you for anybody who donates, and let's send some money to a good cause. All right, so shifting gears, Noah. What is Noah currently doing?
I think Noah is currently, as we talked about a little, in darkness right now. The last thing he remembers is that he was successfully splitting a shard of his soul off to form a second part of himself named Ash, who is a whole different person now, covered in fine ash, and binds nightmares to their fists. But that was in the other place because Noah needed to go to the red, and he needed someone to stay behind and distract. And then, but as he split his soul in half, everything kind of just like blacked out.
Yeah, and as it blacked out, sort of reality around you seemed to fracture, as if the space between everything became enhanced. The silence between words, the silence between heartbeats became painfully loud. The space between every bit of yourself seemed to fracture and stretch and drift apart as this inky black void seemed to ooze through all of the cracks, seeping in to the actuality, into you, into every bit and crevice that it could fill, until everything was dark.
I think right before it goes dark, Noah's last thought is kind of like, finally.
And so you find yourself floating in this cold embrace of just pure, unrelieved darkness. But as whatever vision you have seems to adjust, it begins to resolve itself as inky black darkness on black darkness, writhing and squirming and roiling against each other, as it is not an unrelieved void, but an abyss full of just endless tentacles that are laced with eyes that open, but they are eyes of darkness, and tiny mouths that just whisper and chatter.
Noah looks down upon this, and he feels like this weird sense of like he's never been more at home than he has here. And underneath his eye patch, like if darkness could have like a shining light, it darkly glows from underneath his eye patch as he's looking down on this. He's just waiting for something to happen there.
And the whisper comes as if from 1,000 mouths, thousand mouths on all these endless tentacles, whispering from these throats. Noah, you seek secrets, power.
Noah can feel the veins around his eyes start to throb when at the word of secrets. And he looks down and kind of like lets himself hover lower towards the tentacles. And he's like, yes, I seek the seat that is empty.
And the tentacles sort of reach up to touch you, and the very fine tips of them brush against your feet and just begin to sort of slither up along your legs to embrace you.
And Noah, before, if no one had seen him, they'd see him now. His skin, which before would have been described as like olive brown, very weathered, is now actually looking weathered and cracked like dry mud. And between those cracks, you can see like a dark slick something writhing underneath the skin. That's like a wet thing that slithers back and forth, and then it seems to be undulating down towards where the tentacles are coming up, as if it's meeting it like with like.
And they sort of embrace and almost twist around each other, but like your skin sort of stretched in between them as they sort of touch and move against one another. We have something that we need from you.
What?
We seek the secret of the cracks between spaces. We need it devoured from some place different than you know.
Noah his head is kind of lolling back with his hair falling over his face for a second, and then he kind of straightens up, and his right hand, which is like all like dark obsidian like stone, he straightens his little string bow tie and looks down into the void as he pulls his hair back and goes, "Oh, you come to the right person."
In return, a whole new feeding ground for you.
I'll do this for you, but I want to go to the seat.
We here you will find secrets to help you find the path.
Let's go.
And so they sort of envelope you entirely. And the camera cuts back to Vera's hole. Tunnel.
No, hole's accurate. That's accurate.
Hole in
It's
the
a hole.
ground. It's a hole in the ground that is swirling with ghosts. And from the ceiling, sort of thick, dark, almost tar-like globules start to drip from the ceiling. And where they hit the ground, they hiss and smoke and patter and sort of begin to like melt and bubble the packed earth floor and like any stone or things like that.
Huh. Can I just scoop some up in a little vial? I want some of that. I want that. I want some of that.
Yeah, so you do.
Just
and it
some of
keeps
that. I just want some of that.
dropping out around you.
Okay. I'm going to try and avoid it hitting me. Obviously, I'm going to kind of like I'm. Vera is very small, about 4'11", and they wear clothes that are many layers and wraps, and so they're just going to like wrap themselves up in their clothing as much as they can and kind of avoid these drops. Oh, that's new.
And so
Hello?
the ceiling like bulges down sort of as this whatever it is, it kind of like accumulates and separates and splits open, and it has this consistency almost as if the packed dirt of your tunnel has taken on this flesh-like consistency, which then splits open with more darkness oozing out, and then this bundle of tentacles like slowly descends out of it and unfold and sort of slither away. And
No,
why don't you
God.
just describe sort of what Noah looks like that Vera sees?
So Noah is a tall, kind of almost rail thin, mask presenting man. He has a wild shock of hair that is now shot through with gray on the sides. His skin may have once been kind of an olive tan, but now is kind of like charred, almost like charcoal in places, and has cracked. And between the cracks, you can see shadows writhing, but then they kind of start to suck back together the more he's here in this actuality, kind of closing until now they're just kind of like a network of black veins. And he has an eye patch over one eye, and his right hand seems to be made out of something like black, clear metal. And he's wearing what anyone who's living in the shadow would say is like an Old West Undertaker suit, with a little string bow tie and like a black suit. Because at some point in the past, he had been invited to a ball, and he thought this is what you should wear if you dress up.
Yeah. Vera's gonna kind of look up at him. Did they belong to you, the tentacles, the writhing things? The gooey black writhing, grabby, squishy, black tentacles. Did they belong to you? Can you get them back?
I don't think so. I think they're gone now. I mean, you can always call to them. Maybe they'll answer you.
Do they have a name? I don't know what to call them.
They have
Of course they have a
so
name.
many
Everyone has a
names.
name.
It's hard to focus on which name they are here and now.
Oh, big mood. I know those feels. Okay, I'm Vera. This is my home. Welcome to my home. It's full of ghosts right now. I don't know if we should really stay here. I was actually just on my way out myself.
Oh, yeah, about those ghosts, like as the tentacles sort of unfolded, they sort of whipped and coiled around each of the spirits in your room and devoured them. Like there was this wet noodle, like ramen slurping sound as they slurped back up into the ceiling.
No, those ghosts?
I was using
Ghosts?
those. Well, who are you?
Noah
Who
just
are you?
starts walking past her towards like what he thinks is the door to leave.
That's not gonna get you. I mean, oh well, it might get you where you want to go, but I mean, how do you feel about dirt?
I don't mind it.
No, it might get you where you want to go. Then I
Does it
mean, there's
taste
a lot
good?
of not this dirt. It's kind of
Have you tried it?
yeah.
Does anyone else know about this dirt?
Define anyone. I mean, yeah, my friends know. Obviously,
Okay,
my
never
friends
mind.
know everything.
So it's not very secret dirt. It's pretty well known dirt then. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not secret dirt. No, it's definitely not a secret dirt. Although I think anything that I see or experience isn't really a secret if you define a secret as something that nobody else knows, because anything that I know, a lot of people know.
So useless. Okay.
It's not going to get you where you want to go. If you're trying to get like out, that's the other way. Where are you trying to get?
There's
Saturn?
there's like an echo in your mind, sort of as you were being deposited, Noah, of the Solomnic Temple of the Articulated Howl.
Yeah, I think I know where I'm going, but I don't know you. So the door's that way?
Sorta. A door is that way. There are a lot of doors in
Are
here.
you saying
Well, they're not really doors. They're
I
more like
can't
just
get out of
holes.
here?
Oh, no, we can totally get out of here. Yeah. No, follow me. If you want out, like out.
Yeah,
But it changes,
would be
you know,
nice.
it grows. So out yesterday is not out today. And out today is not going to be out tomorrow, and so on and so forth, because it just kind of grows. And I think,
So like Mulligan's fourth Tesseract Claw?
only made of dirt.
I only ate half that book, so I'm not sure.
Do you know what? I know. Well, how well do you know this? How well do you know this area? Because if you're trying to go somewhere,
I don't know it at all.
oh well, do you know it? Do you know it?
This
Where are
area
you trying
as far
to?
as your weird tunnels go.
Okay, I'm gonna start walking to where I am being informed the exit is today. But you know, if you're new around here, you might need some friends. Friends are always good.
No, for a second, if you look on the side, his eyes like turn like jet black at the word friends. And if you had been facing him, but you probably not, he would have had like more teeth than he could have for a minute. And then like he's back to normal. He's like, I guess friends are useful.
Yeah, they tell you so many good things. Oh, you know what? You should totally meet some of my friends. Yes, I know he's probably got his own thing, but that, you know, you've got to be a good host sometimes, and you can't just let people wander around. I've got some friends who I really think you should meet. I know a really, really, really great maker, and this friend of mine who has a really, really cool house. Anyway, come with me, and I'm gonna lead through my house towards Emma, Elizabeth, and Alice's house.
Yeah.
Just because that's Vera loves her friends.
So I'm just imagining, because this has come up before, that your house is always growing and Emma Elizabeth's house is always growing, but they're happening in different places. And eventually they need to meet.
Yes, we've got kind of an as above, so below thing happening.
Yeah, and Asperia last week we found out had just started adding a second sub basement.
Yeah.
Which I think is where the mirror ball is being housed, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're following Vera, and like the whispers are leading you where you should go.
She knows absolutely nothing. All of her knowledge is kind of just she just does what the whispers say.
Yeah. And you definitely now are in a bit of tunnel that you've actually never been in before, and it looks really new. Like there's still fresh dirt, and it's got this rich, loamy smell of like growing things.
As he walks by, Noah lets his finger brush against some of the dirt on the side of the wall, and he kind of like.
This is delightful.
And this is still kind of secret dirt because not really anyone has been through here yet. You are the first.
Oh, this is so great. This wasn't here yesterday. Or maybe it was and I just didn't know about it.
And then there's a door. Just like, what kind of door would Asperia put on the outside of their second sub basement?
Probably like a big, thick wooden door with like iron bars or something across on the other side. Because while the aesthetic has to be maintained at all times, this is underground with, there's no HOA down here. So you do kind of have to protect yourself. So it's just a big wooden door with iron bars across the other side.
Okay.
I will knock.
So you hammer on the door, and the door says back to you audibly, so both of you can hear it. Ah, Miss Vera.
Hi.
You were expected.
Yeah. This is my house, but this isn't my door.
No, I'm Asperia. You haven't met me yet.
Oh, that's so great. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. I'm Vera and et al.
Your house and I have become acquainted with one another.
Oh,
you're besties. Oh, everybody's making friends lately. It's just so good.
Let's just say we have similar ambitions and we are in alignment.
Yeah, because like everything that happens down here kind of happens up there, right? I think E and I worked that one out, that like what happens down here happens up there, and there's some kind of connection, and it's really good that there's a connection. Like that makes it more powerful somehow.
And I am getting very large.
Oh man, so is my house. I spent like a
appreciated it.
week down here last time, and I just so good.
Well, I'll have to summon the mistress of the house. It'll be just a moment. So, where's Emma Elizabeth in the ever-growing mansion that is Asperia?
Currently, I imagine she's in whatever sort of study or office that she normally uses. She's been doing a lot of homework over the past few weeks, and she's got a lot more to go through. So she's hitting the books, so to speak.
Okay. And so you just hear echoing, from around you. Mistress Emma Elizabeth.
Yes?
A acquaintance of yours, Vera,
Okay.
is at the door in the second sub-basement.
Well, we haven't had any guests try that door yet. I'm
No,
surprised and impressed.
her house and I have made arrangements. Thank you very much, Doubler Thackeray, for the donation. And because of the donation, we are going to play another Sooth card.
Yay.
So let's
And like the minute that that Vera started talking to the door, Noah leaned against the wall, like completely bored, and is like writing in a little book. He kind of has it really good at like disconnecting from everything unless he cares about it, and just follows along. He has kind of like that posture of like like bored Spike from Cowboy Bebop, but like just leaning against the wall, writing in this notebook.
Excellent. So we have just played the Tyrannical Clock, which is the color is invisible. So
no.
all magic is enhanced. Notions, cats, clocks, and winds. So if any of those are tied to your heart, that will add to your venture. Meanings are oppression, time, countdown schedule, and repetition, which, given that you have just entered the Marquis district of Saturnine, is real freaking appropriate. We live and die quite literally by time. The pressures of time affects one's goals. Something good or ill approaches, and everyone knows it. All right.
I feel like that cat might be my master now.
I know that cat looks like it should just rule everything.
Yeah, like that's my god now.
Fair. Oh, and this entire time while the house has been summoning Emma Elizabeth and Noah's been bored, Vera has just been talking at you.
Yeah. Okay.
Just non-stop.
And Noah has experience with another friend who was like this, so he's like, yeah. Yeah. And then what happened?
And now you're besties in Vera's mind.
Okay. I love it.
No, at one point, Noah does look at you and he goes like, "You don't like trees, do you?"
Do we like trees? Do I like trees? I know you like trees, but not really.
Okay, good.
All right. So Emma Elizabeth, I'm assuming the entrance is probably close to where Mirrorball's hidden because, like, you maybe want a quick exit for Alice.
Exactly. Yes. And since we pulled that Sooth card, which had something to do with the heart, but that was related to cats, I'm gonna summon little Mr. Faust, my familiar, who's wonderful.
Describe his beings to us.
They're
How many beings?
well. See, the thing is, Mr. Faust, as well as being my familiar, is my object from the shadow.
Ooh.
So I brought this cat back from
Aww.
Gray. And Emma was doing some rough living back in the gray. So this is a mangy, foul-looking, scraggly white cat, perpetually dirty. Got one of those really ugly, low type things going on. Definitely like that. This is a foul being.
I bet it loves having its snoot booped, though.
Oh yeah, all cats do.
Yeah.
And I will stop by the mirror ball on my way down because I know Alice probably likes Vera a lot because they're both makers and they both seemed very taken with each other last time around.
Yeah.
Alice will gladly pop out and join for the greetings.
And Emma is still a little unsure about what is the correct way to like contact someone inside the mirror ball. It's like, do you knock? Do you speak at it? So she just kind of like shakes it a little bit.
Just everything's vibrating.
Earthquake.
Yeah, Alice will pop out and be like, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm a little shooken up.
I
It's
apologize and figure it out. Vera stopped by. I'm not entirely sure why, but I figured you'd want to see her.
Of course.
She's actually just outside the door there. I'm gonna go over, lift the bars, and pop open the door.
Hi.
Hey Vera, how are you?
Hello.
Oh, I'm so good. I was having a bit of a tough time before because there were all these ghosts in my place, but then the tentacles came down and cleared them all out. I think they ate them, which is a little bit disturbing because I was going to use those, But anyway, they also brought this guy.
Noah goes, hi. Noah.
Hello, Noah.
Alice.
Emma Elizabeth, this is my house. Come on in.
Noah got brought here by tentacles that came out through my ceiling, and then the ceiling burst open, and then he landed on the floor, and there was all this black drippy stuff. It was really cool. Oh, Alice, I've got some of the black drippy stuff.
I was just about to ask.
I know.
Do you hold up the vial?
No, I just like tap my pocket.
Oh, okay.
That was quite the thing that you had happen to you. Is everything okay?
Oh, I'm all good. Oh, no, they were talking to you. Never mind.
Oh, I thought you were talking to her. Yeah. I mean, traffic, am I right? Anyway, the door out of here is.
I actually don't know myself. I'm a little bit lost, to be quite honest. I just moved here. Emma?
That seems to be going around a bit.
Well, there's that door out here. We don't typically use that for obvious reasons. The regular door out of here is 4 stories up in the foyer.
All right, I have a place I need to be. See ya. He just turns around and starts walking out.
Have fun.
So as everyone turns around, stepping out of the hallway and into the room, and as they step in, Asperia's voice like comes through as if through like a static crackle, Emma Elizabeth, as if it's busting through some kind of interference, and it just goes like, "Intruders!" And
like points to himself like, me?
No, you can see stepping out of the hallway and into the room, clad in glistening armor with silver metallic faceplates.
Bitch.
2 members of the pristine guard with rifles lowered and pointed at Alice.
Friends of yours?
Alice?
And they just say...
Meanwhile, everybody else here was expecting it to be them.
And they just say, "You're all under arrest."
Oh, are we though? Does that mean all of us? Is that like all of us? Because...
Noah smiles like they just, that doesn't work for me. And like slams his hand down on the ground beside him and is going to do bleeding darkness.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Why don't you read the description of what this does?
Do you want me to read like my description of it, or the
Yeah.
one that's on the card?
Yeah,
So
your description.
He does it a little different. Like the technical stuff that it does is it suffers damage each round equal to the spell's level. Depletion 0, color red, facet start, conjuration level 3+1.
Yep.
So as Noah says, doesn't really work for me. All the shadows in the room seem to like skitter away from the things that they are shadows for, and then they all start slithering towards the ground, towards Noah. And when he slams his black obsidian hand on the ground, they all rush in and then seem to undulate and then rush back out. But now going all together towards one thing, and all the shadow, like there's no more shadows in the room. Everything is lit from every side for a moment. And they both go around the shadow that like swarm around these people, attaching between their arms, slithering up their necks. And as they go, you hear like tearing sounds.
Oh boy.
Excellent. All right. So this is a level 3 spell.
Level 3 +1 die, it says.
Yes. Absolutely. So basically in Invisible Sun, anytime we are using magic via a spell, attacking people, spending sortilege, we are rolling an extra d10. So we just have to note which ones are regular d10 and which ones are magic d10 so we can keep track of flux. But it's a level 3.
I have a bunch of sorcery and sortilege that I could use to make this go better.
Yeah, so your venture is going to be starting out at 3 from the spell. You can spend, let's see, spell sphere, and it sort of targets. So yeah, you can spend Bene from.
I remember it stays up like round after round.
Yeah. Should any of the creature find themselves within the darkness or rent? Yeah. And depletion is a 0. Okay. All right. So I think, so you'll be rolling against their general defenses. So your venture is at a 3 to start out. You're rolling 2 dice. You can spend from your sorcery pool to up your venture 1. And I don't know if you have the what is it, like expansive endeavor, like that lets you spend more than 1 sorcery or not?
You're talking about probably not.
Okay. So you can up
or
that.
Yeah, I got like 5 of those. No, so I'm gonna spend that. So that means I roll 3 instead.
No, your venture will be 4 instead of 3, and you're rolling 2 dice. You can spend a sortilege if you want to roll 3 dice as well. Okay.
Noah doesn't know where he is. He doesn't like people who say they are arresting people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll my main dice. That's an 8.
Okay.
And I roll the 2 extra ones, which is a 3 and a 2.
Okay. So the sphere of darkness sort of blooms into existence as the shadows that you conjured rush and congeal around them. And you can hear this renting sound of like claws scratching against the metal, and you can see long gouges on their armor, but the darkness does not seem to have penetrated through the armor that they're wearing. What's everybody else doing as like rifles are swinging around the room?
I'm gonna take my my special object, the silver bracelet around my wrist, and I'm going to kind of rub at it and be like, "Can you just give me something useful?" And I'm going to conjure a single random non-magical item that I can hold in one hand. Just please give me something useful.
All right. Something that would be in the second sub-basement, a hammer.
Well, it's from anywhere.
That's true.
But it is, the item summoned is one that was in the midst of being used by its prior owner. So it's something that someone somewhere was using.
All right. I totally like it here. We should, because we're in a situation where we play Sooth cards a little bit more frequently.
My cat. No,
we've played the cat.
Speaking of cats, there is now one sitting directly in front of my screen, and I cannot see any of you. Go. Go.
There we go. Oh, that's what that is. There we go. So it's the companion, notions, cats, clocks, and winds.
Which are all of my things, by the way.
One sometimes must act alone to succeed. So when this is a good flavor for what randomly, in the midst of being used, pops out of someone else's hand and appears in yours. One of the guns out of one of the guards' hands blinks out of existence and then is suddenly in yours.
That'll do it. Can I shoot it?
I think you can do that next
round. Yeah.
Next round. Yeah.
I was like, that'll do.
Okay. What about Alice and Emma Elizabeth?
Do you want to go, Alex?
As has happened before, Emma is stepping off to the side, cursing under her breath about, and I quote, these dirty, ragged men who keep attacking the police.
Pretty ragged.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, Alice, it's all on you.
So I've got a quick question. I've got
Absolutely.
my wish for peace ephemera, which turns all weapons into flowers. Do I know if that would affect my sword in Alice's big bushy hair?
That's a good question. Let's wish for peace.
Yeah, it says all weapons within long range are transformed into flowers. I assume that affects.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. That's within long range. It's going to be everything within like 150 meters.
Yeah. Okay, then unquestionably Alice is going to pull out her quite big 5-foot claymore and say, I'm sorry, but we're not under arrest, and she's going to charge at them.
Okay. I'm going to say that you're close enough because I'm not worrying about, distance and all that stuff. So go ahead and Alice, you charge in like a glamazon and...
Yes. Okay. So I've got my level 2 weapon.
Yeah, so that's a venture of 2 right there from your weapon.
Okay, I've got my skill, which I just finished learning, heavy close combat.
Mm-hmm. So you get that at 1 level, so we've got a venture of 3.
Yeah.
You can spend Bene from accuracy.
Okay, I'll do that.
So that would be 4.
And then I'm going to spend a sortilege, and maybe we see this scene where Alice is writing in her book about how awesome she is when she wields her sword and cuts down the
cops.
Because fuck the police, right?
Yep. And then I'm gonna roll.
Just because no cops have tried. So.
That's right.
Thank you. So I got an 8 and a 3.
Okay, so you cleave with this giant claymore. Are you cutting down the pristine guard who still has his gun, or the one who doesn't?
Yeah, I'm going for the armed one first. Yeah.
Okay. And so your weapon is a level. What did we say?
It was level 2.
Okay, and it's a medium or large weapon. How much damage does it deal? 4 or 6?
I think we said heavy for 6 because it was a two-handed.
Yes. Right. Okay.
Huge, gigantic claymore.
Okay. So it cleaves in through the armor, and there is actually a spurt of blood as you penetrate through their defenses and chop into them. and the guard yet lets out this, Wilhelm scream.
Nice.
All right. That guard sort of drops his gun because it's kind of useless that you've charged in, and is pulling out a sword. So that's all that they can do. And similarly, the one who doesn't have a gun pulls out their sword, and figuring that the Glamazon with the big sword, who is their target anyway, is the risk, is gonna step in and make a attack at you. So you can make a dodge defense action, Alice.
Okay. So I don't have any skills in that.
So you can spend Bene from your movement pool.
Okay, I'll do that. And I'll maybe spend another sortilege.
Okay. Excellent.
Just for fun. That's a 7 and a 1.
Okay, so they're coming in to try and strike you with their sword, yelling something about resisting arrest. You'll come with us, dead or alive. But you're just parrying with this big blade that you have. All right, so as we move back around to see what Noah and Vera are doing, we play another Sooth card. And we have played the Monarch, who is the Sovereign. So let me just refresh. The Sovereign.
I think this deck is really trying to tell us something about the proper place of cats in the world.
I know. Like, we've got lions here. Cats clearly rule the show. The cops are trying to arrest you, and we've played, the Sovereign, because the Deathless Triumvirate wants you. This is the Sovereign of Notions. So notions, cats, clocks, and wind. If any of those apply to your heart, your ventures are at +2 right now. For everyone else, they're at +1. And yes, this is authority, judgment, and the land. Which is so fitting. All right. So what are Noah and Vera doing as these guards have just descended on Alice?
Did the Black Shadow, did it fail? Is what happened?
So it looks like it didn't fail. It's that their armor is absorbing the damage.
All right. So I have to roll. If I don't get a 0, and it'll do that again, and then I can do my action.
That's right. Yeah.
I got a 7, so it stays up.
So it stays up, and it's like rending at the armor, but it just seems to not be able to.
Noah is kneeling down with his hand, and it still seems to be like the ground is kind of cracking underneath it as the shadows continue to pulse back and forth as if he is a heartbeat of shadow. And then, but he looks up and he sees that it's not doing much, and he kind of like starts to he coughs, and for a second his skin seems like it's made out of 1,000 pages of paper, and then it goes back to his skin, and he keeps coughing up, and now he's coughing up bits of burnt paper, and those papers start to accrete and slither, and they swirl around the room, and they slam into the back of the first thing he looked up and saw was this large shiny ball, this disco ball, and the papers slam into the back of that almost like a dark hand of burnt paper, and try to hurl it into the two cops.
Okay. All right. So
that's
I love all of this imagery, because yes, this is Pride Month, and the imagery of these like cops invading cops into this space, and the disco ball getting thrown at them.
And I just basically spit on them. So
yeah. Okay.
As Twitch shuts us down.
All right.
So I need to roll for that, I guess.
Yes. So your venture is at 2 plus 2, or no, sorry, plus 1.
The spell says level 2 plus 1 die.
Yep.
And the target and anyone close suffer damage equal to the level of the spell. So I'm going to do the same thing before to make it easier.
Yes.
It's been like a sorcery and a sortilege again.
Yeah. So, and did the sovereign apply to your heart, or are you just at a +1?
No, I forgot. Well, I forgot my sheet that has all that on it. So
We can double check. What is your heart?
sto- Abyss.
That's your soul. Your
Okay, then
secret
it's
soul.
Stoic.
Yeah, stoic. Okay.
And I pulled Abyss randomly. I didn't choose that too, which is
That
fine.
that is look. Randomness never lies in Invisible Sun.
Because this game's not actually Magic, apparently.
That's right. Stoic is card family. Mysteries. Animal is rat, and object is mirror. So no. So you're at a +1. So that's a 2, 3, so +4 total, and rolling 3 dice.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll. And when you say 4 total, does that mean I have to beat 4 to make it?
No, your venture
Oh,
is
under.
4, so that's subtracting off of their
Okay,
yeah, or adding to your roll, however we want to look at it.
so I'm gonna roll my main dice, and that is a 2. And
Okay.
then my secondary dice is a 7. And my third dice is also a 7.
Okay, so the disco ball goes flying across the room and smashes into the heads of these 2 guards. And Noah, would you like a joy? Yeah.
It does
So-
give me joy.
So I'm going to introduce a shift here, a GM shift, because the ball doing 2 damage wouldn't penetrate their armor. Essentially, they've got pretty beefy, like almost plate mail type armor. But as the disco ball hits, this is going to be a double shift I'm introducing here. Alice,
Just
mark
blow it
mark,
up.
mark down a despair, please.
Sorry.
No, I love it. It's great.
So as the disco ball hits, it shatters apart each of the panes that become like individual planes of glass that swirl around the guards in this like cyclonic whirlwind that just begins lashing and cutting at the guards, rendering them into finely chopped pieces that just like perfectly cut cubes of meat that just fall wetly to the ground around Alice, leaving her entirely untouched. There's just a single speck of ruby red blood on your cheek.
I've got one question.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the rooms that was in the disco ball was Alice's heart.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So the room itself was your heart.
Yes.
So
Just curious how Alice is feeling about this.
well, I think though that all of your stuff has sort of, as the ball shattered, presumably has gone somewhere because it was like an extra dimensional space, right?
Mhm.
Now, was this the heart that was your heart of crime?
Yeah, it was my heart of crime. Yep.
Yeah. So from the like broken shards, a couple of them, this mercury, metallic substance sort of oozes out and sort of slithers across the ground and then runs over your foot, crawls up your leg, slides up your neck, and then like worms its way into your ear, and you can feel it sort of drip down the back of your throat and then start worming its way into your heart and melding with it.
Alice will just look back to the group and very, very casually say, I really appreciated our quick action against these intruders.
That went great. I've got a gun.
And no, so those weren't your friends.
Not in the slightest.
Asperia, Emma Elizabeth, Asperia says, I'm sorry, mistress. They could override my normal defenses. I feel rather ashamed but I should let you know, they weren't just coming for Alice. They intended to take you as well.
Yeah, I figured. Emma's gonna like grab Noah by like the shoulders, which is, I imagine, quite a feat because she's like 5'1", 5'2".
No.
What the fuck? You killed 2 cops in my house. Who's gonna have to deal with this? It's not gonna be you.
I'm
What
pretty
the
sure
fuck?
They're in manageable pieces now, though.
Oh, I'm gonna pick up some of the
That's
pieces.
what I meant, you dead son of a bitch.
Who?
Never mind. You had somewhere to be. You're welcome to head on out.
I don't know. This cut kind of interesting now. I look at Vera. I'm like, are you thinking the tentacles in the cubes?
Well, I definitely want some of the cubes. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but the cubes, and I don't have the tentacles because they ran away after taking all the souls, which is kind of a bummer, but I've got some other stuff, and I definitely want some of the cubes. I'm going to take some of the meat
He
cubes.
kind of distractedly looks there. He's like, that sparkly thing wasn't important, was it?
Well, that was my home. It's tough to explain. It was also my heart. Although, I don't know if any of you saw, there was some interesting. Did anyone else see that weird silvery substance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just
I
making
assumed
sure.
that was like normal. I thought maybe you did that all the time. You're killing cops.
Hasn't happened yet. Could become normal. I'm open to the options.
Noah kind of looks at the shatter stuff and then kind of cocks his head up and looks over at you. And he's like, sorry about your house. And I guess I could help you for a while if it needs to get you a new house. I have some place I was trying to go, but I do feel bad about your house. Houses are important.
I think that would be very just if that works. I'll look towards Emma and just to make sure I can get the roommate okay of approval on this.
Alice, let's talk for a second.
Yes.
I'll pull Alice off to the side. Which I imagine the second sub-basement like just grew, so there's probably not a whole lot in it. So bring Alice to the side probably does nothing for privacy.
No.
But Noah's been in a situation just like this before, so he kind of awkwardly looks at a book in his hand, turns it over, looks over at Vera, tugs his little bow tie.
So Alice, remember when we made this arrangement? We agreed that this wasn't going to put my family in danger.
We did.
I'm not mad. It wasn't your fault. But I can't have that kind of... I can't have that happen again. And on top of that, whatever washed up old
Rip.
veterans that you're involved with chasing down the ass end of the Path of Suns into the red, they need to step up their shit. Because I was told this wasn't going to happen.
Alice looks exactly like a dog that's being scolded. She'll say, this was an oversight on my part.
Alice, this was not an oversight on your... There's nothing you could have done.
Well,
In the middle of
Alice
this,
actually
Noah,
rejected the offer of the people to help you because she wanted to not owe them a debt, so she wanted to do the job first. So
Wait,
no one is
what?
helping you.
Oh, son of a bitch!
So Noah is like very like a person trying to open a bag of crisps in the theater really quietly. He's slowly tearing a page out of a book while he's like watching and listening to this and like eating it kind of loudly, but he thinks he's being quiet.
I'm sorry, I have to break character for a second. Noah. I was playing a Logavor last Thursday. I did the exact same thing.
Yes.
The exact same comparison to everything. So I'm here for it.
Just like,
Oh, my face hurts from laughing so much. Vera, the whispers speak to you specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Tell Emma Elizabeth
Uh-huh.
there's secrets of the Kaleidoscope Void in the Solamnic Temple.
Hey, Emma Elizabeth, the secrets of this. Can you repeat that?
Kaleidoscope Void.
And the Solmic Temple. The secrets of the Kaleidoscope Void in the Solmic Temple.
Noah suddenly looks really sharply at you. He's like, the salami.
Is that right? Did I get that right? Salami Temple? That doesn't sound right. Oh, Solamnic.
Solamnic Temple. That's where-
Solamnic.
That was where I was going.
Yeah. Oh. You didn't tell me that, did you? No, you didn't tell me that. You told me that. It's hard to keep it.
So I'm
But
very
that's
interested.
you, Emma.
Very interested in the first half of that sentence. I have no idea what a Solamnic temple is.
Do you, Emma Elizabeth, have any skill in magical lore, perhaps?
I do.
All right. So let's go with, this will be an open challenge here
Sure.
that we'll work towards. I am going to say this is information that's known to some people. It's not a total secret, but it's not widely known. So I'm going to say that this is at a difficulty of 7.
Okay.
With my hidden knowledge, can I have hidden knowledge +4. Is there any way I can?
So you can always spend hidden knowledge to add
Yeah.
to a venture. It's hard to add that to somebody else's.
Yeah.
But you can help someone. So if he's kind of talking it out, you're talking it out with him, then you can add to it. So do you have skill in magical lore
I don't know that. No, I don't.
or
I
like
have-
history?
I have 2 levels in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're all talking and Vera, if you want to spend some hidden knowledge, I will
Yeah, I've got
say
shitload of that.
Yeah, so I'm going to combine those two. So Noah's info, Vera's hidden knowledge, as a +3 situational bonus to
I
Emma,
have hidden
Emma
knowledge as
Elizabeth's roll.
well, if you want to use that as well.
Yeah, sure. You can spend a point of that.
I
let's-
have written down from the last game that I have 3 or something.
So we'll add this to a 4. This is a bit higher of a bonus than you usually get. But so a 4. So you've got 1 level or 2 levels.
I have
Emma
1
Elizabeth.
level of magical lore, and I was wondering, I have 1 level of memorization. So if I ever encountered that knowledge, maybe I would remember it. But if I haven't encountered it, then
Yeah, that's a good question. So sometimes you can apply 2 skills. I'm going to say this one we can. So we're at a
Sure.
6.
all right.
Now you can spend a bene from intellect, which will bring the venture to a 7, which means it meets the challenge and you don't have to roll.
I'm gonna roll for it anyway because I feel
Okay.
like, if I roll the 0, I deserve to lose.
Fair, fair.
Let's go. I rolled a 1.
Ah!
Okay. So you know a little bit. You know that the Solamnic Temple of the Articulated Howl is a repository of knowledge and secrets, particularly sort of the dark variety, held by a mystical order who, at least at one time, used to be a bit powerful, but they've since been very much overshadowed by the Church of Midnight. But the Let me pull this up to refresh my memory. The order is called the Chattering Order of the Immaculate Void.
Sorry,
All
I'm
that-
looking at my
All
notepad.
that you know, and this is totally matching up with stuff that Noah knows. I think maybe this group is more well known in your actuality than here. Is that the entrance is somewhere in the dark square in the Confederacy of Cloisters, which is the same location where the church, the Cathedral of Midnight, the Midnight Cathedral, is located.
I just love this game so much.
I know, it's so good. I quite often, when I'm coming up with new names for things that aren't necessarily in the books, I do use like a variant of the cut up method. Like I'll pull open a bunch of books and like grab random words and put them together. For literary people, the Solamnic Temple of the Articulated Howl has some literary references there.
Yeah.
Alice will just look to Emma and say, secret knowledge, the red.
Noah, like at those words, like his teeth kind of like flicker in and out.
Yes, like many rows of teeth, right? That flicker in and out.
Yeah.
Too many
Almost
teeth.
like phantasmal teeth that like are there and then not there.
Noah, did you have an interest in the red as well?
I wouldn't mind going to the red. I have people I need to talk to there. So
I think we've got some common interest amongst the group of us. And it sounds like, Vera, you know where we can find out about these things, potentially.
Do I know where I can find out about these things?
no, I like go Solamnic Temple.
Solamnic Temple. Yeah. Do I know where I can find out about these things? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure somebody knows where to find. Yeah, okay. So if we just ask around, yeah, I know it's just
Noah's
you
like
guys
writing
now,
in his book and he tears a piece out and he leans over and very gently pins it onto like the part of your coat here and it says Solamnic Temple.
man. Thank you. Look, I think we might know. We might know. Someone might know.
Do we know how to get there?
Do we know how to get there?
I'm not sure where I am right now, but if we're by Saturnine, then I know how to get to the Solamnic Temple.
Currently in the Marquis district.
Okay. Is this any different than like the Saturnine Noah would know? as far as-
The layout is the same. You haven't seen enough. I'm gonna say though, what you'll see are always like subtle differences. Like you'll go by a street that you know, but it's the wrong name, or like a building or two that is different. And I think this whole time you've had this weird, almost like pins and needles sensation.
Okay.
Like it's just a little off.
Well, if we're in the Marquis district, then it should be pretty easy to get to the Solamnic Temple. I need to
You
roll
just-
for this.
No, I mean,
Okay.
you can take the train to the Confederacy of
Yeah.
Cloisters and to the Midnight Cathedral. Like that's not hard at all.
I mean, we've all been to the Black Mass of Shadows, right? Once in our lives.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, good wafers.
They tried to recruit Emma Elizabeth. She refused.
Well,
I don't join any of them. They just have good snacks.
Oh man, do they ever?
Well, let's go. Aspiria,
Yeah.
send someone to clean this up.
Yeah, like some thought forms
Yeah.
in the like servants getup that your house uses, Emma Elizabeth, appear to start like cleaning up the mess.
Noah immediately is like, "What the fuck is this?"
Friends.
No, this is slaves.
Friends.
They're just thought forms. Get over yourself.
Noah kind of nods and. Mhm. Let's go to the Solonic Temple.
Let's go.
Emma Elizabeth is just the worst.
Makes like a mark. Makes like a
Yes,
mark.
yes.
Makes like a mark in his book as he's walking behind them.
Get off the desk. Okay.
It was interesting, the cat coming in because it was fading out the green screen.
Yeah, she does that every time, but she was standing right on the desk, so I couldn't see any of you.
Yeah. All right. So you move through the Marquis district, which is all gleaming glass and marble palaces and large mansions, wide, pristine streets. There's pristine guardsmen, and well, guards people, because they just have faceless masks, so you can't tell their gender, everywhere, but none of them are paying you any attention. Asperia seems fine. But you make it to the train. You know, it's a few orbs to go to the Confederacy of Cloisters. And so you get on the train. There's attendants. Again, it's like thought form attendants. Well, you can't necessarily tell whether they're thought forms or people everywhere. But there's definitely, you know, all the people doing the attendance of the train.
Alice would just be interested in making like casual conversation with Vera on the way and like
Yeah.
chatting about the latest technologies and all that stuff.
I want to make like this thing, like snacks that you can eat that do different things, and like they're kind of mechanical, but they're also kind of like not.
I
But
think
anyway,
you
you could
could
eat
I think you could really get by if you use just like tiny pieces of powerful metals.
them. Yeah. Yeah. But the long-term effects would be kind of interesting, don't you think? Like build it up over time.
Intriguing to say the least.
Yeah, because I know a lot of that kind of stuff where you're metalworking and including those kind of things, it tends to happen from the outside in, but like, what if you're doing it from the inside out? Anyway, that's what I'm working on.
That sounds quite fantastic.
I think it'd be really cool to have like a brass heart or something. You know, silver lungs, clockwork lungs. That would be so cool.
You at that mention, Alice is just like totally enjoying this conversation, like in the element of like, this is fantastic. I've been experimenting with different heart materials and how you could replace them and come up with new sources for the powers of oneself.
Yeah, right? Oh, I love your earrings, by the way. They're so good. Do they do like spirit fingers? Can they click?
Kind of. What they'll do is if anyone comes a little bit too close, they will push anyone away, just, you know, as a bit of extra protection.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm quite enjoying it.
They're made of
love
that
it so
obsidian stone, right?
Yes.
Like your arm?
Yeah.
Yeah, my arm.
Because Noah's hand looks like the same substance.
Noah's like kind of like slouched over two seats, like when someone takes up two seats by sitting sideways on the train. And you can tell at first he like really wants to be annoyed by their conversation, but little by little he kind of smiles to himself, and he's starting to realize that even much how much he hates the idea of logically working with other people, there's something, the more he's in the actuality, the more he feels like he needs to be with people.
Is the obsidian hand that you have like visible?
Yeah.
To any? Okay.
Well, there was a glove that I put on it, but you saw it when I did the spell.
Okay. Alice would, I think, curiously look over, remembering this, and say, "I've been trying to do something similar with what you have on your hand there, Noah. I want part of me to reflect my criminal heart. and I'm really quite interested. Do you mind sharing just any information?
Well, is that a changery? I'm not a
Okay.
maker.
Okay.
I had a friend who was a maker who took me to a changery after I lost this. And he also has huge scars down the side of his face where his eye patch is. He's like, and underneath this too. And he lifts it up just for a second and you see like an obsidian eyeball inscribed with like symbols, and he flips it back down.
Did it hurt?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Which
good
part?
to know.
The arm or the things that ate the arm?
Didn't realize the latter happened. But I'm curious about both now.
The things that ate the arm, they still hurt. But getting the arm replaced did not hurt. It was a consumption of my arm that will continue on into ever. It's never ending. In some place, the arm is still being eaten. I can still feel it.
Which place?
It was dark between the shadow and here.
Oh. Okay.
But the changery, man, they just put it on you and it's good.
Yeah.
Alice will just take some notes about this and start thinking about it, and say,
the eye feels interesting sometimes.
Can you see out of it, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I can see everything out of it, which is why I keep it closed until needed.
Yeah, that's fair. Everything's a little much sometimes.
It is a much until I need to. And there are some things that you really can't look at for very long, which are always around us, apparently, at every moment.
Yeah. So I've heard.
And also, if they see you looking, sometimes then they see you more than they don't.
Yeah, they don't like you listening either. Just a heads up on that one.
And they get very hungry.
Yeah, super mad. Super mad.
And then the train like rolls into the station in the Confederacy of Cloisters, and you can see all outside around you is just super varied architecture. There's ornate temples, small churches, there's street hustlers, street preachers, everything you can imagine outside. And you can see at the moment not one, not two, but at least 3 different funeral processions happening, like winding through the streets, that are entirely different from one another. So one is somber, one is joyous, the other is very sad. There are different colors, there's different rites. You know, one has incense, the other 2 don't. They're just very, very different. 2 of those funeral processions want to apparently go down the same street, just like a couple of intersections down, where you can see they're like sneaking towards each other. And when they come to a head, a brawl breaks out between the 2 groups.
I'm going to. Are we going near them, like close to them?
This is probably like a block or so away. It's just you can see it from the train station.
Okay.
And it's over pretty quick. But just to give you a sense of, you know, this is the religious quarter and they don't always get along with one another.
Who'd have thunk?
All right. And before we head to the Midnight Cathedral, or I guess, yeah, we'll go. You make your way towards the Midnight Cathedral. It's a thing all of you would know. And you would approach what is known as the Dark Square, because the Midnight Cathedral is one of those, like, you know, like the Duomo or something in a big Italian city, where it's just this massive cathedral in the central square that utterly dominates it. Smaller buildings servicing around it. It is all made of black obsidian that soars, you know, a spire several hundred feet into the air. It's all angular, very architecturally modern in a way. but the square is packed. There appear to be either one large event or two events sharing this space. Near the, we'll say you kind of come out onto the square sort of like at the halfway point, you know, with the cathedral sort of off to your left and other buildings off to the right. Off to the left near the cathedral appears to be some form of protest happening. There are people holding up placards denouncing, you know, those who worship demons and dark deities. There is a number of angels mixed in with that crowd that you can see, glittering wings as they stand in varied forms. And also nearby appears to be a carnival happening in the dark square that just has all kinds of booths and food vendors and games happening. But the exact nature of this carnival remains to be seen, because we're at a good moment to take a break. So we're going to take a break. We're going to be human for a moment, and we'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so see you soon, folks.
And thank you for bearing.
Oh, hey everyone, we are back. Sorry, I didn't warn my players with enough time that I was kicking us back. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll dive back in. Alex, number one, is stepped out for a minute, and we'll be back soon. And I just have to black out his screen there so we're not just staring at his bed. But I'll kick it over to you folks as you find yourself sort of stuck between a protest and a carnival in the dark square.
As Noah gets off the train and kind of is like slinking behind everyone else, he kind of wrinkles his nose as if he's smelling like a really bad smell, and kind of looks around all the buildings. Ugh.
Well, which way do we want to go? To be quite honest, I don't know where we're going here now that we're here.
I mean, the Solamnic Temple's that way.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, you know that it's a storm grate somewhere in this square, which is fairly big, and that's about the level of information you have to go on. So we got a couple of ways we can do this. I think there'll be a challenge associated with finding the grate. We know there's some stuff going on that might interfere with your search. But depending on how you folks all want to go about it, you got lots of magic at your disposal. Any number of things could happen. But I'm just going to say that the challenge of finding the correct storm grate, we'll do an open challenge here. We're going to set it somewhat high, but not impossible even for a mortal. So we'll set it at a 9. So it's relatively high, but depending on how you all want to go about it, we'll take it from there and flavor it appropriately.
Okay.
But how are y'all dealing with like kind of just making up a spell on the fly? Are y'all doing that, or is that something you don't do?
We haven't been doing it. Obviously the weavers can do it with their aggregates, and I know like apostates and vances often want to create new spells, but I think we've sort of put them more in the like research and development type of thing.
Okay. So I was gonna wonder if Noah could go around kind of like tasting different parts of the square, trying to get a sense of like the composition of it that might help lead to where the grate is, as he like scrapes a little bit of dust here and rubs it on his gums, picks up a piece of dirt, a piece of garbage here, and eats it.
Yeah, and I like the idea that Noah's got some different abilities because he comes from a different actuality, right? So magic for him works a little bit different. So I am totally cool with working with this.
Seeing what he wanted to do, and then in the moment figuring out what would make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So
he's an apostate. He kind of views magic more as like, he knows that you can reach into reality and mess with the strings. So he thinks every time there's a situation, there's some way to mess with it.
Yeah. And we don't have any weavers in the group, so it's not, stepping on the sort of toes of like another character's role in the group. Yeah, exactly. So absolutely. So I like this idea. So you're essentially like mechanically will look for an effect by level that is around the right level of divination, I think, because that sort of seems like the kind of thing you're doing. Yeah.
He just kind of is like, it's like scraping like mold off a wall and rubbing it on his gums, and just different parts of the square and eating them and trying to like let them go. As he eats them, he feels like he's getting pings of like vibrations off of the different parts of the square, and as he eats different elements, they start to like echo back and forth against each other, kind of building like this view, the sonic view of the square that he's trying to see where it wouldn't echo where the grate would be.
Yeah, I like it. I love it. Okay, I'm just looking. And how much sorcery do you have
I have
at your disposal?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12.
That's
Okay.
so much.
That's what he
So
pumped
much.
everything into in the other game.
Yeah.
Nice.
He has 2 movement.
Yeah.
He was a
It's-
total studier.
Yeah. It ends up being so much more like just sorcery and sortilege. I'm the same way. Just
That's the
use
only
that
one.
magic. Okay.
I'm a wizard, not a punchy boy.
Exactly. And you got lots of rest actions, so like refilling your pool, you can go big or go home a lot. So I'm gonna say this is the equivalent for a divination of the similar, a little bit lower than the level. So we're gonna set it, or no, it'd be kind of equivalent to the level in this case. This is the challenge was compounded by other things, but the divination aspect, I'm gonna set this at an 8. So it's like a level 8 effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be spending a whole boatload of sorcery as you pump like 8 sorcery into
So
this
cannot 8?
spell. Yeah.
All right. I better come up with a good description.
So you spend 8 sorcery. So your adventure is currently sitting at an 8 with a challenge of a 9. So you only have to roll 1 or above. It is magic. You're using magic, so you're going to be rolling 2 dice, and you'll need 2 successes. So you can spend sortilege to roll to add a 3rd dice if you wish.
Yeah, let's do it. Why
Yeah.
not? All right. So I need to roll a 2 or above, or you say a 1 or above.
1 or above.
1 or above, and I have 3 chances to get it.
That's right.
Yeah, I got it on all of them.
Okay,
I got a 3
excellent.
and 6. So as he's doing this, he kind of is walking back towards everyone, kind of like looking up in the air a little bit. And right as he gets back to the other 3 of you, he kind of coughs like he did before, and out of his mouth, like bits of burnt flecks of book come out. And as you can see on the pages, they don't fall at the speed you would think they would. And you can almost see glinting on them words that are fusing to other words. And then these bits of like ash and paper go together to his hand and make like a paper mache, jet black paper mache model of the square. And then he reaches in and pulls out a little tiny cube. He's like, the greats there.
Yeah, and so you're pulling it. It's on the far side of, and let's see, is it on the side of the protest or the carnival? And we're going to let the Sooth deck decide and see if it gives us any relevant information. And we have played the Misremembered Dream. So blue magic is enhanced, red is hindered. Mysteries, appropriately enough, rats, mirrors, and stone. Meanings, confusion, mistakes, or change in identity. But we know your spell worked. People confused. NPC foes around the PC are confused. And I think, given the nature of Noah's spell and Noah's inclinations towards the abyss, the fact that some NPCs are confused are the people protesting the Church of Midnight because, like, bless their hearts, they just don't know any better. And so the cube that you pulled up indicates that the storm drain is on the other side of this crowd of protesters and angels.
So Noah kind of looks at the little diorama map and looks over at Vera. He's like, "You want this?"
Yes.
So now you have like a little perfectly ash paper model of the square.
I carry it very carefully.
There are little individuals made out of paper moving around the square.
Oh, this is so great.
Noah looks at it for a second and just reaches in and kind of like where the crowd of ash people are, where the crowd in front of me, kind of flicks them to see what would happen.
And it doesn't seem to. It seems the reflection is one way. Yeah.
Worth a try.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that had worked. That'd been horrific.
Emma Elizabeth, you notice in the crowd, you just catch a fleeting glimpse of someone moving around the edges of the crowd. A tall, beautiful woman,
Oh,
but
no.
she's wearing a coat. She's wearing a coat, but when her face turns, you swear that fleeting glimpse you had in the undersling in the pinion court of the angel, the fallen angel that was de-winged, it looks like that angel.
Oh, well, that's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. I'm just going
And-
to file that one in the memory banks for now.
Yeah. And there are some of these protesters do appear to be armed, because carrying weapons in Saturnine is not generally illegal. So there's people with like clubs, and there's angels holding like massive swords and weapons. Some of them are in like full on war regalia.
Alice would like to also make sure she's holding her vorpal sword out just to show off.
I have 2 quick questions.
Mhm.
First, do we all know that we're supposed to be going to the storm drain on the other side of the protesters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I assume I showed you like on the little map thing where it was.
Second, are these protesters like saying anything? Are they like
Oh
chanting?
yeah.
versus-
They're chanting slogans, and they have placards, and they're denouncing the Church of Midnight and those who truck with demons and dark gods, and they're a stain on our society. It's a bunch of nonsense.
Obviously.
Follow close to me. I have an idea. And I'm going to use my ephemera incantation. Stolen tongues speak in silent songs. All beings near you can speak only if you allow it. And I'm going to just mute them all and walk through, hoping that in the confusion, we can just kind of bamboozle our way past.
Okay. What's the level of that incantation?
5 + 1 die.
Okay. So yeah, everyone nearby, level 5. The vast majority of people this would apply to without you rolling.
Yeah.
And let's say like if you do want to like amplify it, right, to like, some of these angels might be a little bit more powerful, we can roll and just see like the general level of the total effect.
Yeah, I'll just roll for it. Might as well.
Yeah, and you're rolling the 2 dice.
Okay, well, first one was a 9, so that's good.
That's very good.
My other. And the second one was an 8, so
Yeah,
I'm feeling
so-
pretty confident about this.
Yeah, so you're maxed out, right? So even it'd be a pretty high level angel that wouldn't be muted by this, and it's nearby. So yeah, within 10 meter like radius of you is basically goes dead silent as you all kind of walk through this bubble, and definitely people start getting confused because they're like yelling and then realize they can't hear anything and are looking around and confused.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bamboozle my way through, hoping that everyone else is following close.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you absolutely all move your way through the confusion and make it across the protesters. No one harasses you. No one stops you. And you clear to the other side of the square, and there is this tiny storm grate.
Down we go. Like, what do you mean by tiny?
So it's one of these ones where it's inset sort of into the curb.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's a gap, and then there's a grated square that you can open. Well, maybe you can open. You're not entirely sure. It looks like that sort of construction. It's made out of a blackish metal. It's not rusted at all. It gleams and glistens where it's sort of bolted into the concrete, or the stone rather. And you can hear like water gurgling underneath it.
try and pull it up, I guess. Give it a tug. Vera is tiny.
Mhm.
All right. So are you just gonna do like sort of the raw
Just
muscle
gonna-
approach first?
Not really a roll. I'm just going to test it. I just want to see how. I'm just going to give
Yeah.
it a tug.
Yeah. If you give it a firm tug, it does not move.
Is there anything visible that's bolting it or locking it from the other side, or?
It looks like it sort of the bars kind of inset into the stone. Otherwise, it's got a grate around it, and it might open. But if it does, it just seems that a firm tug with just your physical being is not enough.
Yeah, if there was a lock, I could definitely do something about that. But if it's just like physically indented into the ground, then
Noah kind of leans over, looks at it, and like goes like this and scratches the back of his head. When his hand comes back, it seems to be coated in like black tar and like bits of like burned paper. And he kind of like just touches the top of the thing and just like kind of flicks upwards. And he's gonna try to use barrage to fling it, like, but it's kind of like fling it comedic, like just fling it like it's like crazy as fuck over.
Okay. All right. So we'll go with a roll with this one. So it's a level 2 spell. So you're starting out with a venture of 2 plus 1 die. So you're rolling 2 dice, and you can, the normal for this, like throwing it at people, you'd be spending Bene from accuracy. I'm gonna say you're using.
He's just trying to like basically catapult it up and away.
Yeah, so you could use Bene from, and I'm blanking because we never
Sorcery?
we never use it. So sorcery, spending sorcery, there's a secret or an apostate abilities that let you spend sorcery to up the level of the spell. But otherwise, you'd be spending from physicality.
Yeah, I have 3 in that, so I can spend one of those.
So you can spend a Bene from physicality, and you can, of course, you can spend sortilege as well if you want to roll 3 dice instead of 2.
Right now. So I'm gonna spend that 1 physicality, and I'm gonna roll my 2 normal dice.
That's right. So a venture of 3.
So my first main dice is a 9. My second dice is a 5.
All right. So all these like loose bits of paper and tar sort of seep in underneath the grate, and like you pull as opposed to pushing it, and the raw.
It's not a full door.
Yeah, absolutely. When it flips back the other way, you see push on the thing as it rips out of the stone, and like you said, comedically just goes like flinging through the air across to somewhere probably outside of the square.
You hear like a faint like crash of like obsidian glass somewhere.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
And there's just a square, and you can see a ladder that goes down into the storm drain.
Sure, down we go.
Yep.
Okay.
If no one's going to go first, Alice is just going to completely ignore the ladder and jump in.
I was gonna say, I imagine Alice doing that like hero drop where you like hop and then just like straight down the shaft. Yeah. Yep. Land in the water.
Vera right behind.
Does Alice go into a 3-point landing?
That is precisely what she does. And in her other free arm, she holds like the sword up in a very heroic drop.
Vera narrowly avoids the sword as she plummets.
Vera lands on her ass in the water. That's
Noah kind of like sighs and then like just kind of like casually steps off the edge. And when he lands, it's like he lands kind of with his hands in his pockets, like. And then kind of walks.
Very casual.
Like bored.
Emma is dreading every second of this. She does not want to climb into the sewer, but she is going to take the ladder like a civilized person.
I knew in my heart of hearts that Emma Elizabeth would go down the ladder, and you did not disappoint me, Alex. All right. So you end up in a relatively normal looking storm drain, except it only goes in one direction. It doesn't appear to go, out across the square. It appears to just flow in this one direction with like a gentle slope downwards, which as you follow and progress, it starts to get humid and damp. There's like only a thin trickle of water at this point going down through the bottom of the drain, but there's water dripping and condensing off of everything, and you can actually see the sort of steam and fog rising off of things just due to the sheer humidity. And if you reach out and touch the sort of stone slick walls, there's a little bit of give to them as they get a little soft.
This sounds very like what my office feels like right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Even mine is starting to feel this way. In the Northeast, we had our first real nice day in a long time the last 2 days. Yeah, it was a whole 19 degrees Celsius today. It was positively balmy. So yeah, the wall
Americans
gets
don't know what
soft.
that means.
I can't convert to Fahrenheit in my head.
Like squints in Australian. 19 degrees.
So the stone is like soft and crumbly and flaky, almost like it is rotting.
Noah
Do you want to
immediately
eat some of this?
Noah immediately looks at you and reaches out and swipes his finger like he would swipe your finger on the icing of cake, and puts it in his mouth.
And it tastes old and well aged, sort of like a side of beef that's been hung for extra long, extra well aged. It's got a nice thick rind on it, like a good cheese.
Noah has consumed perfect memory, so like if there was some information to get from it, he would be getting something.
Yeah, and so it has this like faint, like old secrets that aren't secrets anymore, like that sort of flavor. The information though that you get is that it seems like no one has been through here in a very long time, because the stone has memory, and it doesn't remember anybody traversing it in perhaps years.
No, so Rivera, you want to try some?
No, but I will take some, and I'm going to scoop some into a little vial and put it in my pocket.
So no one's gone this way in a really long time.
Ooh, amazing. So it's like unseen.
It tastes unused. It's known. This isn't a secret, but it's been this way for a long time.
I can work with that.
It has it's stale. Yeah, it's stale is what it is.
And so as you're walking, it just seems like you're walking and walking for hours. And the tunnel twists and turns a little bit, but it doesn't really seem to change.
Oh, great.
Yes, okay.
Like, are we seeing the same thing, like the same specific landmarks again?
So yeah, it's like that, and you eventually pass by, like you see where you swiped at the wall.
So this is doing nothing. We're going in circles.
Are any of these bits of walls actually bits of doors?
Vera has experienced that before.
Yes, bits of walls that are bits of doors. I mean, that's a normal thing. I mean, I'm gonna start looking for doors.
Okay.
Like just like right up against the wall, like smooshed up against it, looking to see if any of it might actually be a door instead of a wall.
All right. And what do we have that we might apply to searching here? And are we using any magic? Do we've got any?
I don't have a lot of magic.
I have counter spell.
Hmm.
It seems like a spell is affecting this, or a magical property that maybe we could undo.
I have a few secrets that are hidden within my sword that could point you in the right direction.
And I'm immune to any level 1 magical effects. So if it's a low level magic effect that is obscuring the door, I would be immune to that.
It is. You would all have, being learned Vizsla. Yes,
Yeah.
chances are this is definitely a magical effect. Probably slightly higher level than that, at least.
Yeah.
And
I was a little curious about what Alice would do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hold back for a little while just to see what everyone else would do right now.
Yeah, if there's a moment, Alice, I think, would walk over to Vera and just begin to say, I've been adjusting the power source and working with some different stabilizers, and I think I found some particular secrets within my sword here. I don't know if you're interested, but we could take a peek within them.
Oh, I've got another power source as well. If it's not enough, we can always,
Boost it?
give it a boost.
Okay. And Alice will begin to peel back her sword to see if there's any secrets inside. And this is the thing. I don't think Alice realizes that all of her teeth are about to fall out.
Yes.
Nope. Because she hasn't used this yet, right? She knows it's completed, but she probably hasn't really used it outside of a test environment.
Yeah. So just very carefully, she's going to peel back the sort of like the part of the sword and take a peek inside and see if there's any hints that can help us out here. So this is level 5, if that helps.
Okay. So as you peel it forward, and I imagine Alice is sort of leaning forward over the blade as she pulls the metal aside. And by the way, the only thing I could think of, Corey, when you're talking about Alice and secrets and the steel, is that Alice is exploring the riddle of steel. And as you do this and activate it, and you're sort of bent over, all of your teeth loosen and wriggle their way out of your gums, and then one by one, and then a flood as they all just fall out and clatter to the wet floor beneath you.
I'm gonna scoop them up, assuming that this is completely normal.
If one pings off the sword and goes by Noah, he is gonna surreptitiously scoop it up, and if no one sees that, he's gonna eat it.
Back from whence you came.
Alice.
I still hate it.
Yeah. Vera's going to
Alice.
collect them all up and kind of assume that Alice just wants to keep these and this is completely normal. This is, there you go.
Alice is just in shock and says, "Where did my teeth go?"
Here, I have them.
Where am
And then you can feel yourself teething. You can actually feel wriggling in your gums and movement as your new teeth begin to grow in.
Right. I'm going to do my depletion roll, so I'll see if...
Yeah.
No, you have to say it like a toothless Alice.
This is the first effect of Alice's that has not broken on the first
It's
attempt.
not depleted on the first use. Excellent. And I was going to ask, what does Alice's tooth taste like, given that Noah can sort of taste secrets and knowledge?
It tastes like
Crime.
the first taste is crime. The first taste is a very strong criminal, rebellious self. The second taste would be something a bit more subtle, and it tastes a bit of loss and a bit of sadness, almost. Those are the two main parts that I think it would taste like.
Noah's eyes like go jet black and like black veins wriggle out the sides of his face. And he kind of like takes a little step backwards and he's like, and kind of like looks around to see if there's any more teeth on the floor. I think Vera already picked them all up.
Yeah, Vera has returned them to the room. Do you think I
Okay.
could keep one of these? This
Alice is reluctant to like even open her mouth, but she just like casually is like,
Okay.
No,
Vera
nice.
pockets one and then like
I'll take
dumps
one.
the rest into Alice's hands.
she'll offer some to Noah because she doesn't know what to do with this.
Noah like shrugs and like picks a handful and sticks them in one of his coat pockets.
With the remaining ones, she'll put them into her secret hair dimension that she has.
Secret hair dimension.
She doesn't know what to do at this point.
I just gotta say, watching viewership numbers, I always love watching people come into the show and we're talking about
Just
consuming
turn around
teeth,
and walk out.
and they just leave. You'll see like 2 or 3 people come in and then like immediately bounce. The
Emma is
soul.
sitting around. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Absolutely, sorry.
Emma is just watching this, confused. She's like, "If only Lucky were here, I'd tell him to put them underneath his pillow at night. Maybe he could afford a bath."
That's some good shade. Alice, the sword, the secrets tell you to plunge the steel into the rotten stone.
As soon as she learns that, she'll look to the group, point the sword towards the wall, and in a very gum-like voice ask, "Can you help me push this into the wall?"
It's amazing.
As her
I
teeth
mean-
are still growing back.
10 hours.
Sure. 10 hours. Me and my one physicality will do our best.
Can
Is
Noah
this-
use
Is this
a
nerd
rock
crew?
at a really low level to kind of like help flick the sword into the wall?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like a super nothing use of it. So
Yeah. So you can just spend 2 sorcery on that. And yeah, so this extra force, Alice, the blade impacts against the rotten stone and slides in with a similar consistency to sliding deep into flesh. And as it comes in, and black ichor sort of spurts out around the blade where it's plunged into the stone and is like trickling and leaking down.
I'm going to take some of that.
Emma Elizabeth, it looks very familiar to you as well. This like thick black tarry substance. It looks like when Twilight appeared in your room.
Yeah.
Noah looks over at Vera and he's like kind of gives like the
Yeah.
Like,
And I'll feel like another little vial and pass it over like it's a cup.
yeah. He kind of like
Yeah, and it tastes like the abyss. It's this negative, hungering void that just hungers to consume.
and some of the little cracks in Noah's face like seal up as if like the inside of him that was a little more like desiccated is filling up again.
Mm-hmm. And so with the blade inserted into the wall, it sort of like moves as if you could cut and carve.
Alice will carve a door into this. wall.
Wall
So
meat,
you-
yeah. Wall flesh.
Yeah. And it parts open behind the blade, more of this black tarry ichor spurting out, running down the wall as you carve out this like plug out of the wall of this like rotten, thick, gelatinous stone. And then as you sort of cut it, it like thumps down into the, you know, the plug sort of falls out, thumps down into the tunnel at your feet. It's quivering, sort of jelly-like on the inside. And in behind, stretching out, is this new tunnel that stretches out that drips constantly with this thick black tar and is ribbed, sort of like a trachea that descends, you know, out, down into the darkness.
You know what? This feels awfully familiar. You know, the library, the guy who was the library, we ended up in his mouth. Yeah, this
No,
feels
no.
like that. Okay, onward.
You know, kind of this time he walks first. He's kind of like looking around, bemused.
Yeah, and it is much like marching down something's throat, down into its gullet, as it is sort of just this round tunnel, ribbed, dripping.
Noah kind of lets his hand idly trail on the ribbing like you would on the spokes of a bridge as you walk
Mhm.
by, like.
Yeah, and it's like cartilage almost as it dances over them, and actually resonates with this little bit of sound as your fingers pop over it that sort of then resonates down through the throat
That's nice.
until it sort of opens up and you step out into what for all intents and purposes looks like a dusty, disused, partially abandoned, half-empty library. There are bookcases lining the walls. There are desks. Everything is covered in a thick layer of dust.
Noah kind of pulls up short and kind of does one of those cracking your neck kind of things, and then walks forward like, yeah. This is why I'm here.
Looks like we have some really interesting stories in here that we could learn about.
Is anyone else in here?
Hopefully, they're very unknown.
No one is in the room, although there's like a couple of doorways that lead off of the room.
I'm just gonna start opening doors. Books are not really Vera's thing. Yeah.
Vera opens a door into a small, like almost monastic cell, and there is a stone slab bed on which this wizened, ancient old man is sleeping, and he is snoring extremely loudly, which then just echoes out into the library room.
I'm going to quietly
What?
close the door. He's sleeping.
Noah is like kind of like just scanning, looking for like a index book or something that would like so where things are shelved.
Okay. So we'll do a challenge here related to searching. Probably, let's say this will be an open challenge of a 5. So we can start building our venture. Do you have any skills related to like searching
I have
libraries?
intellect, perception.
Yeah, so you can definitely spend from your perception pool. And if you have any other skills or anything, we can add those, but you can definitely spend from your perception pool.
So I have perception, then intellect. I don't think interaction is more for like talking, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And these are your pools, so like perception will apply for one of them.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I just spend one from the perception because you can't spend multiples, right?
And yeah, that's right. There's an endeavor that lets you spend more, or not an endeavor, a character secret.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you can spend one, and you can still spend sortilege and like magically charge it up to roll multiple dice.
I'll spend my last sortilege on that. So
Okay.
I've spent 2 extra so far.
So yeah, so you're rolling 2 dice, and you've
Okay.
got a venture of 1. So you just need to roll 4 or higher.
All right, so my main dice gets 4. My secondary dice gets 5.
Okay. So you're searching around the library, and there is this like thick, ratty book that appears to be a ledger of like presumably of like holdings, books that are or were in the library.
So Noah reaches out and takes this book, and as he takes it, the veins in his hand begin to pump and writhe underneath his skin, like snakes, and they turn black, and it traces up his arm to the sides of his eyes. And as they pump, the book starts to like breathe in and out, like it's like an exploded view, and then a normal book, exploded view, and a normal book, but it goes faster and faster, and then it all of a sudden like just shrivels up as if it's like aging fastly over time into the palm of his hand, and it's gone.
As you devour and consume the book.
The knowledge in that book.
All right, we're gonna play a new Sooth card because we came to a new location.
Yay.
And we have played the Sealed Door. Silver magic is enhanced, gold is hindered. This is secrets, ravens, books, and flame.
There's no way
Means-
this game isn't somehow actually magic.
I know.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true
There's
divination.
No way.
True divination. If I was gonna start a tarot business, I would have people play Invisible Sun, and we would turn over Sooth cards. The door holds more promise than a wall, but a sealed door is perhaps worse for the egress it suggests. Generally, a card of ill omen, the sealed door stands in the way of victory. So I think what happens is as you consume this book, the door that Vera had opened previously opens, and this old man totters out, wild gray hair, like Einstein on his worst bedhead day, all over the place, big, thick, scraggly eyebrows. He's got sort of dusty, you can't tell if they're brown or faded black, kind of robes on. And he comes out, he pops out, and he's like, "Guests! Oh dear, visitors! Was not expecting. I am the High Prattler of the Chattering Order. Please, guess. What brings you here to the temple?"
Teeth.
Alice
Excuse
will
me?
smile with no teeth.
Oh my. What brings you to the order? The Chattering Order. I thought this place was hidden, secret.
Nah.
Well, can I help you perhaps?
As they're talking to them, Noah kind of like from where he was, kind of just like slinks back around the stacks in case they didn't see him, and is trying to find the books that he's looking for.
Okay.
Alice will. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm trying to contact a being that lives outside of the Path of Suns.
Oh, interesting. Yes, interesting.
The omnipresent eye. That is.
Oh. Interesting.
Do you have information on that here?
I think perhaps it is still here. Yes. You seek to contact the Kaleidoscope Void?
More or less.
This is most dangerous.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Not so much outside the path, but where all the sun's light comes together. Wild, dangerous magic.
It's for something important.
And why should I give it to you?
Okay, so there's someone very important to me. And she was in danger, being threatened by some very powerful people. And in order to deal with them, I murdered someone and fed his soul to a demon in exchange for their death. And, well, first of all, that evidently seemed to be relatively ineffective. But beyond that, the librarian did not deserve what I did to him. And even if it kills me, I have to try. He deserves that much.
Interesting. And the old man sort of looks at you and stands up a little straighter and begins to smile. And this large grin sort of stretches across his face. And he blinks, and instead of blue eyes, there are now dark, glittering voids. And his whole form begins to sort of rearrange itself. And then the accoutrements, the robes, sort of fall away. And standing revealed before you is a tall, elegant looking woman, glittering obsidian flesh. When she smiles, there are just row upon row of dagger-like, shark-like teeth back in her mouth. And she is got her hair sort of like, a nice undercut, swept over on one side, short, very stylish, a very well-fitted pinstriped suit that is black with just this like thin thread pinstripe. Not unlike Twilight, but older and more refined. And the voice is different than Twilight's, because you haven't seen this person before, but you have heard this voice in a book in the blue.
God damn it!
And it is the voice of Sister Midnight. Young Goetic. Oh, don't worry. I must apologize for my offspring's influence on you that caused all this trouble.
Oh, let's not pretend. You and I both know that I did this.
Oh, but you had help.
I had help, but Twilight was a tool, a willing tool, who wanted to be used. But,
Indeed.
From my perspective, a tool nonetheless.
Fair enough. Now, I still feel somewhat responsible, and it has taken a lot to bring me all the way back here. where she might get her talons into my soul. This is a very strange thing for something that you believe is a demon of the dark to say.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's weird. Alex, am thinking it's weird.
Yep. So, consider this. And she sort of like stretches, like indicates her hands. My gift to you and your compatriots. It's a hidey hole outside of the view of those above, and while depleted from its former glory, holds at least a few secrets that I think you... And she sort of cocks ahead, Noah, and like swivels back in the direction, and you're like hidden behind a stack, so you can't see, but you can just like the hairs on the back of your neck kind of stand
Noah would
up
be
a little
walking,
bit.
like, would be kind of moving, beelining, because he knows exactly where the books he wants are.
Yeah.
So he would be moving this whole time. So he's like,
Yeah, and it's just like they stand up on the back, like you can tell someone is like looking through every obstacle in between, and you will find enlightening. If you can make use of them, that is. They're not without their challenges. So, if I can be of any further assistance. And she sort of just does a gesture, like, you know, that magician's like snap, and a card slides out, and she hands you this like flat black onyx, kind of like the Amex black card, but like thicker, you know, like the carbon, isn't that the new one? It's like a carbon fiber credit card. It's like kind of like that, and it just in silver text on it just says Sister Midnight. It doesn't have any location or anything, but she hands it over and says, you'll know how to use it when the time comes.
Well, I have to admit, this is not what I expected would happen when we saw each other again, but I thank you for your generosity, if nothing else.
Let's just say there's debts that I have to make sure are repaid.
It just dawns on Emma like, man, I would hate to see whatever sort of a being can keep Midnight in debt.
And she like just steps back into a shadow and seems to like almost turn sideways and step into just a shadowed corner and vanish.
Noah kind of like leans out, how someone like when you're holding onto the edge of a bookcase and you kind of like lean out like this. He goes, was it just me, or is like they were really cool?
Yeah, a lot cooler than I expected them to be, in all honesty. Last time went a lot different than that.
You almost burnt down a library last time.
That's true.
In the blue.
Waste.
All right.
Well, Alice, I think we'll be staying here for the time being until we get to the red. I have no interest in endangering my house or my family, and you stay hidden. And it wouldn't do to have you here by yourself, so.
I think there's a lot of reading, and I agree with that. If you want to stay here and we can just read things for however long we need to, I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, I can send things out to get food and water. We'll be fine on that front, so.
Noah's beelining it to where the books that he knows he needs are.
Yeah. And when you get there to that section, there is most of the section is empty. But there are two things that are still seated on a shelf. One is a slim book. The other is a box. An oblong box, probably about, a foot long or so, a couple inches wide. Simple, like, hinged top. It's all like onyx wood inlaid with ebony.
Noah looks at the book just to see what it says, and then slides it into like a pocket of his jacket.
Yeah, so the book is a treatise on Current J, one of the currents of magic that flows through the suns. And Current J, given like the title and sort of the resonance you pick up off of it, this is one of the unknown, more secret, or at least lesser known currents of magic that doesn't flow through the realms in the normal way and is attuned specifically to the red.
Noah kind of runs his finger over the top of the box to see if it has any dust on it or anything.
Yeah, thick layer of dust.
Kind of like taste it to see if it tastes safe or treacherous or...
It tastes dangerous.
Noah looks over, he's like, "You're a maker, right?"
Mm-hmm. Been known to make some things.
Well, you can...
Who's Alice?
You can look at this box and see how safe it would be to open it.
Oh, just open it.
Makers are reckless.
And kind of to prove a point, she opens one of the other doors in the room.
and it's empty.
Noah takes a few steps back and then kind of like reaches out, and his eyes flash black for a second as he tries to like just flip the top open with barrage, but as gentle as he can.
Okay, so it flips open. I'm just gonna rearrange us here because Alex has been sick and Alex had to step out.
Oh no!
But I just need to adjust the other thing so we can see us all.
Doing this live is tough.
Yeah.
It's actually not too bad. There, I got us. All right, so you flip open the box, and
Emma's in the Noah spot's empty.
Yeah, I'll
Oh, okay.
yeah, we're close to wrapping for the night, so I just wanted our faces to be on screen legibly. So the box flips open, and inside, nestled on it, is a dagger made entirely out of like an ivory type material chased with silver, and it glitters, and the two makers instantly have this impression that this is an object of the legacy.
Alice screams without her teeth.
And as he flips it open and sees this, Noah kind of does a reverse barrage and sees it fly to his hand. And
it sort of it doesn't do any damage, but like the inner darkness in you like hisses and bubbles and like flinches away underneath your flesh as you hold it.
Vera's is grabbing onto Alice with excitement, like, this is the best day.
So you know what this is?
It's awesome.
Is this a legacy artifact?
It is an object of the legacy.
My hand is like kind of smoldering, but I don't seem to care.
Alice is speechless again.
Yeah.
What?
He kind of Noah's like kind of looking at it, curious, because he's like a scientist too. So he's like, I guess
Yeah,
one of those.
and you can feel that like resonance of like creative power, right? This is an object tied to the spell that created the actuality.
And Noah can tell that.
Yeah, I think it's one of these sort of inherent things that most people, when they gaze upon an artifact of the legacy, like you can sort of sense it. You don't necessarily know what it does, but it's so potent and powerful that it sort
kind
of
of like as
resonates.
it's burning his hand, he kind of like looks over at the other two and kind of cocks one eyebrow up and goes, I think we just found ourselves a compass needle.
Yeah. I wonder if there's other boxes in here.
So if you all spend some time searching the room, just because this is one of those things where like not much loot has gone out yet
No.
in this game, but there's basically there's some spells that you can find, and some magic and things like that. So now, of course, all of these take, like, you still have to spend acumen or whatever else to learn them mechanically, but you don't have to pay fees to go to a library to use a book or whatever else. Like, you've got a physical thing you can learn from, so you don't instantly know it, but you can learn it. There is a couple of like long form magical books, and a spell, and some secrets that are left around.
Tasty.
And I assume that Noah, given his predilections, will probably swipe some secrets.
If he can, yes.
Yeah. So there are yes, these are the two. We'll say here's like three that you basically find. One is called Dark Eye. And I'll have to type out the text for these and give them to you because they're in Book M.
Yeah.
So they're new. The other one is called Render Sightless. And the third is called Writhing Soul. So, and some spells that everyone else kind of like finds in books, and you can choose what you're going to do with them. There is a long form magic. It's an assimilation. So these are new to Book M. These are like reverse enchantments. So instead of enchanting an item, you use the magic in something to pull it out and do something else with it. So you assimilate the magic out of an item. Misery's Dark Facade and Death's Refusal.
You're so emo.
So, Alice has an ability called Identifying Ingredients that she got from going up to the next level as a maker.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about how we can examine something to learn to be used, if it can be used as a material or any of that stuff. or if it's out of the ordinary, determine how it can be handled or stored.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she would go over to Noah and just very solemnly say, this legacy object is greatly important. And she would try and like have a glimpse at it and see if she can notice anything.
Yeah, so it lets you know sort of how you can safely store it, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not inherently dangerous on its own. So it can be safely stored or carried just as any other object.
Noah kind of like has no problem holding it up so you can get a better look at it.
I have a very vested interest in taking that. If
You know, his teeth like kind of flicker as you say that.
What is the deal or the cost that needs to be made?
I want this as a key to get somewhere.
Key.
This is connected to the center of everything, the center of the spell of creation, and I want to go to the center.
Are you gonna taste it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to taste it till there's nothing left to taste.
Would that like undo all of creation though?
No,
Or would all of creation just like exit?
I think, well, I just met y'all, so if there's a way for me to contain the essence of this, as far as any type of spell that I would have to use it for, or augury, or homing, or pathfinding, I don't care about this dagger as it's a relic. I just want the connection that it has.
Ooh, this sounds like maybe a good character arc for Alice or another maker to work on.
But this is part of everything I've been looking for. So I don't care about importance, but I'm not going to give up its utility. But I'm in no hurry.
I'm in no rush as well. I am interested in it because I think with enough power I could accomplish some things that I would like to do.
What are these things?
There's someone I care a lot about who needs help.
Noah leans in really close, and his like teeth kind of like flicker, and like you can see like underneath his patch, like the eye, like there's like almost like a black like radiation coming out from underneath it. And he goes, "As long as I get to eat God, we can help whoever you want."
I think that's an excellent deal. Alice will... Oh, go ahead.
Do you think God could be baked into a cake?
You want to find out?
Yeah, I really do.
No, I like hands the dagger to Alice. Anybody, his teeth are still there. Usually they disappear, but they're still there, like completely manifested. And he's like,
"Yeah,
but I get to eat God."
I can agree to that. Vera, if you're interested, we could look into this to speed up the process.
Yeah, no, I definitely think we need to have a look at it and figure out how to use it and get to God and bake God into a cake and eat God. And I think then we're all happy.
Do you think that we could present ourselves a little bit of collateral amongst each other just to ensure some trust
What do you
in
mean?
this deal?
I just gave you a legacy artifact.
Well,
Yes.
I don't know that it was entirely yours to give. I mean, we all came here together. We all got in here together. In fact, it was Alice's sword that got you in here at all. And it was Emma Elizabeth knowing the thing in the suit that really got us access to this place. Because I think if Emma Elizabeth wasn't here, that thing would have just straight up murdered us. So I think it's like ours. If anything, it's a timeshare legacy object.
Out of character, Alice is referring to herself.
Yeah.
And she'll say, I realize that holding on to this artifact is a huge commitment. And I think that it would not be just for me to not return anything that you could hold on to, just in case something were to happen.
Noah smiles even bigger and his teeth kind of stretch, and he's like, you have a secret you want to tell me?
Alice,
A secret that will only be mine?
Alice will look to Vera and Emma and ask them to look away and look back to Noah and say, yes, I can offer you a secret for only yourself.
Noah's like face starts to crack, and like the dark writhing thing that was there before kind of like seems to be coming to the surface as his skin starts to peel away, like if a blowtorch was torching onto a piece of paper as it's peeling backwards. And out of his mouth, like a papery tendril comes and heads towards Alice's mouth.
Alice, toothless, will open up to
Okay.
that was the best major effect that we could have picked for this object.
They're actually starting to grow back because you spent several hours wandering around.
So Alice has baby teeth at this point.
little nubs.
Little tiny baby teeth. Like Sonic the Hedgehog. So again, it's basically like the dark abyss is coming out to take a secret from you, but you will not know it anymore.
Yep.
Basically, it's taking one of your treasured moments.
Yeah. Alice, making sure that in the end she wants this to be a very fair deal and in all the justice that she sort of embodies, gives up her memories of Anna, who is her wife. Because that is the only thing that she can imagine is an equal trade in this.
Noah, like his there's like black dust coming out of the sides of his eyes, almost like black sand. And for a moment, he looks like deeply sorrowful that he's taken this secret. Then he like shakes it off, and it all like retracts back into him. He goes, "All right, we have a deal."
We do.
All right. And that's a good moment for us to end on the night. Oh boy. That was a deep cut there, Corey.
So now you don't remember that you had a wife.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and there's so much there about that even most people don't know. I only know bits and pieces of it. All right, so we will go around and wrap up.
Oh, that was good.
That was great. That was great, guys, folks. So All right, so we will go around and people, please feel free to promote anything you have to promote, anything you got coming up, projects, the like. I will just say, folks, we had a full schedule for the month of June, what our normal weekly schedule is on our panels below. Our weekends are packed. We had a lot of stuff going on. I'll be back here on Thursdays and Saturdays with stuff from Monty Cook Games, mostly Invisible Sun, but expect Cypher and anything else. And that's pretty much it for me. All of our stuff through Pride, Women in Gaming Month this June, all our community games, any funds raised on this channel, some of the other participating games on the channel will be firing off to Trans Lifeline as a donation. So hopefully we can raise a bunch of money this month. That would be fantastic. And you can find me as a player. Yes, that's right, a player. Tomorrow at 2:30 Central, I believe, is the time. We get clarification in chat from Vox. I think, yeah, so 3:30 Eastern, 4:30 my time. Over on Dice Priori, our friends from Dice Priori, in a Tortle one-shot where I'll be playing a Way of the Long Death Monk / Grave Cleric Tortle. So that should be... Yeah, so that should be fun. We'll see how it's going to go. And I am sure it'll be a blast because Alexis will be DMing. So that should be great. So yes, please come back, watch all our stuff. A lot of stuff going on this month. I want to say thank you both to Alex for being on again. Alex, who does a lot of important stuff, helps out with a lot of stuff behind the scenes, especially on the channel. And I really want to thank, it's been such a treat, Jordan, to get a chance to play with you. You've been such a supporter of the show and hanging out in chat, and we really appreciate it. And I just, I loved having a chance to play with you.
Your characters are so good. I love everyone's characters. They're so great.
They are fantastic, and hopefully we'll have a chance to have you back again.
I had a blast, by the way. I know I'm a little rusty, but it was fun.
It was great. It was chef's kiss, everything I wanted. So I will. So Alex, do you get anything to shout out? I know you got some stuff going on.
Hi, I'm Alex. You can find me on Twitter at AlexCatu. You can also find me on Variant Roles. I'm currently running a Saltmarsh game over on the Greyhawk channel as well. We had our first session yesterday, which was great. I think the video on demand's up now, or it will be up very soon. So do check that one out. It's great fun, very big and cinematic. Then you can find me on Variant Roles. Occasionally I crop up, much like I did here, just roll in for a one shot and then roll back out. But yeah, that's me.
Excellent. Corey, what do you got going on this month?
Yeah, my name's Corey Hickson, Twitter with the same name, and today we did our Pride brunch, which was a really great session to chat about some of the stuff that we're doing for Pride Month. I also have a set of games that I just released, and they're on my Twitter. But also, if you've donated to any queer charities in any capacity, feel free to DM me, and I will just send you a free copy of what I've got, because the intent of it is to get as many people as possible to contribute to those causes. Other than that, I'm here on Invisible Sun, and that's me. Yeah.
Excellent. And obviously, Jordan, what do you got going on to tell us about?
I have a few things going on. Piggybacking off of the Pride Month stuff, I run a t-shirt company that's at voidmerch.net, and through this entire year, all of the Trans Pride dice proceeds go to Trans Lifeline for all of 2019, and then for the entire month of June, all the different Pride designs will be going to Outright International. So that's what we're doing this year. Just kind of every year we want to step it up a little bit, and I also write on Twitter. I write weird stuff over at Hottest Singles, the Dread Singles Twitter account. And I have a website, jordanshively.com. You can find some of my writing in books like Spire and Emberwind. Next month, we don't know the dates yet, but there'll be 4 sessions of playing Blades in the Dark on WebDM. And then also I have a Patreon, which is Dread Singles, where I write not licensed D&D smut and run some choose your own adventure games.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I saw Grant post the Blades in the Dark stuff. I think earlier this evening. I'm trying to remember if I saw it
I love that
on
world
Twitter
so
or
much.
just his Discord. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That group looks
It was
fantastic.
there, so yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I am.
But this was
excited.
super fun too. I just want to say thanks for inviting me and letting me play with your characters and in such a well detailed world.
Well, the pleasure is ours. Like I said, we love having you around. Love having you on. Hope to have you back.
Yeah, maybe
And,
Noah can guest in on another spot. You guys can
Absolutely.
put him in stasis, hanging out in the library, trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to get to the middle of the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love
Now
it.
he's connected to Alice now, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
big time connected. Does Alice remember? Would Alice remember that this happened?
I think she would probably know she lost something.
But she doesn't know what she lost now,
Right.
and she knows that she'll get it back.
Yeah.
Like, because Noah is holding on to this one like inside of him.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Which is good because Alice has some long-term plans that revolve around
Focused on
Anna,
and
so-
knowing that she was married.
Yeah. Excellent.
I mean, feel
All right.
free to like finagle that as you need if I don't
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back soon enough.
Yeah.
figure
Well, and
it
the good thing with Invisible Sun, like, we've got stuff. Alice can be working on it, and with side scenes, like we can handle it. So even
Okay.
if it doesn't happen on stream, so perfect. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and come on back tomorrow, especially tomorrow night. Urban Shadows. I forgot to shout that out. And yeah, all the links down in the bottom. And thank you for watching, and we will see you all later.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.